Hi, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. This is Real Talk with Coach Sherri, and this channel is about workforce development, career readiness, entrepreneurship, and of course, real life, real issues, and real talk. I'm just going to take a pause here for a second. I'm going to wait until a few more people come into the building. I typically don't go live on Wednesdays, and today is November 4th. However, I really wanted to come because I'm doing a video every day for the month of November for November Thankful Nuggets. And so in this live, I'm going to talk about what I am thankful for, what I woke up thankful for, even though I only got maybe 2 or 3 hours of sleep last night. But I am just so thankful that God has woken me up, given me a new day to get it right. And I'm excited. So, as you come in, please be sure to thumbs up this live as well as in the chat, write your favorite cake. What is your favorite cake? And if you're watching this on the replay, also put that in the comment section. What is your favorite cake, especially during the holidays? I'm going to share with you my favorite cake and when I was introduced to it. A lot of times, of course, with foods, you don't typically remember when you were exposed to it, when you were introduced to it. But this cake, the sweet potato cake, oh my goodness, I remember almost to the day when I first tasted it and I fell in love. Oh my goodness, you guys. But today has been a great day for me. I learned some new things regarding workforce development. I love it when I can learn something new. I met someone new in a conference call and I told him, I said, even though it's 10 o'clock in the morning, I learned two amazing new things from you. And he was really happy about that. So, whenever you learn something new from someone, let them know that they taught you something. Wouldn't you love to know if someone taught you something new? So, at any rate, you guys, I want to get into this November thankful nugget. And I'm going to leave the ingredients and how to make this particular cake because I do have the recipe for it. I've only shared it with one other person and I'm only really sharing it because I don't know how to bake. I don't know how to cook. I'm hopeful that my youngest makes this for Thanksgiving because she can bake pretty well. She's really good at following directions, and I'm thinking she can pull this cake off. And if she can, there's going to be a problem because I love this cake. It is so delicious. It's when it's made right, it's moist, it's flavorful. It's a type of cake that when you take that first bite, or really when you take that last bite, it stays with you. It leaves an amazing lingering taste in your mouth. And to me, that's how you know something's really good when the aftertaste is so delicious. Maybe like an hour later, you might lick your lips or do something with your tongue and you're like, wow, I can still taste some of those flavors from that cake. And so that's how this cake is for me. So this is the sweet potato cake, and I was introduced to this cake in the summer of 1992. The summer of 1992, I was introduced to this sweet potato cake, and I am so thankful for that. So I was dating my husband, and it was the NFL's preseason. And if you have been to the old Giant Stadium, they had a huge parking lot and they would have amazing tailgates there. A lot of professional teams have gone away from that one big parking lot where everybody parks at. They have so many different, they're in major cities now. So, people are parking all over and are just going to the stadium. But back in the day in New Jersey, the Giants had a huge parking lot. Now they have a new stadium and it has a parking deck, so it's like it's not the same. This was one kind of like a big field, but it was just a paved parking lot. And after the games, my husband's parents, because he is from New York and he played for the Giants, and so they came to all of the home games. And so this was preseason, and his mother will cook everything. I've never been to a tailgate like this, and it would be after the game. So after the games, no matter what time the game was over, his dad would pop the trunk, and in the trunk would be steak, ribs, potato salad, yams, collard greens, um, chest of ice with all that food in it, plate warmer things for the other hot dishes. There would be you just name it, it was in there. And I see some people have come into the building. I see Philly Fly Girl, Fly Girl, Shade Princess, Beneficial Knowledge. Hello, thank you both for being in here. Um, you don't like the parking? That's right. It is not the same. And are you a Philadelphia Eagles fan? Fly Girl. I keep wanting to say Philly because it's like Philly to me. Are you a Philadelphia Eagles fan? Thank you for putting your thumbs up. Sade Princess, Beneficial Knowledge. I appreciate that. And also, if you can put the name of your favorite cake in the chat, that would be great too. I'm interested to see because my favorite cake is sweet potato cake. And this is November Thankful Nuggets. And I am thankful for having been introduced to the sweet potato cake. Yes, it's Philly Girl. Okay, Philly Girl. Yes. So, Philly Girl, I don't know if you know this, but I went to Lincoln University, which is not far from Philadelphia. So, I actually spent a lot of time in Philly because my best friend went to Temple. And so I spent a lot of time. And for 2 years, I dated a guy who was from West Philly. So I spent some time in West Philly as well. Carrot cake is your favorite, Sade? Okay. And so, Philly girl saying, I miss the days where you could tailgate without a game ticket. Yes, that's the thing. So back in the day, this is for you that may be new to sports or are just starting to go to professional sports. But back in the day, you didn't even have to have a ticket to the game. All you had to do was pay the park. You go into the parking lot. People would have TVs, big TVs in their vans or trucks or car trunks, and they will pop them up. And they would have their chairs out there. People would be playing catch, football, frisbee, music would be blasting, grills, people would have their grills grilling food. It would be amazing. People would just be out there well past the time of the game was over and well beyond the beginning of the game. They would start early in the morning and they would have their set of friends. Everybody would be parked right near each other, and it was amazing. And so yes, okay, so you like carrot cake. And oh, thank you, Sade Princess, Beneficial Knowledge. You know what? I was just thinking that because I washed it and I curled it and it's really too curly now. I like it when it falls a little bit, and I dyed it. So I have a little bit of gray coming in. So I've been dyeing my hair black. And I was just thinking to myself, I feel like I'm getting too old or my skin is changing where black is not really complimenting me anymore. I'm thinking I might have to go like a lighter brown or something, because I'm feeling like this black is too harsh. So thank you for saying that. I appreciate it. So hi, Ease Belize, how are you? Hello, good to see you. Yes. So Philly girl, the you said that you would leave at 5:30 in the morning to go to your tailgates. Yeah, because you want to get a good spot. And so back in the day, also with those big parking lots, at least I know for Giant Stadium, the fans could park almost right up where the players parked. And so then after the game, the players would be out there, the fans would be out there, and just everybody was just all out there together as one. And it was really, really good. So like I said, um, after the games, my mother-in-law would cook like my husband's favorite. And at the time, he and I were just dating. So she would just cook all his favorite foods: steak, ribs, potato salad, collard greens, string beans, yams, um, you name it, she would just have it. And I was always shocked. Like, it was just more food, more food. And I would have a huge plate. Other guys from the team would come around. and they would get a plate, especially the ones who didn't have family nearby. They getting this home cooked meal and this, that, and the other. So preseason, is in the summertime. It's like the end of July, I want to say, beginning of August, and that's when this was. So it was 1992, and it was the end of July, the beginning of August. Hi, Cubs Den. How are you? Thank you for speaking to everyone. All right. Yes, the food alone. So some people don't even care about the game, don't even know who's playing. Back in the day, they would just go to the tailgate just for the food, just for, the friends, just to kind of hang out with everyone. And that's what I really miss, because after we were with the Giants, we were in LA with the LA Rams, and they did have a big parking lot, but maybe it's because I didn't really know a lot of people. I was just going straight into the game. My in-laws were in New York. They didn't come out to LA, so I was really by myself. My husband did have a cousin from New York that had just recently moved to LA when we were there. So her and I would hang out, but still, I was just trying to get into the game. And then when we went to the Rams built that dome stadium, and we were in the with the Rams, but we went to St. Louis. They built the dome stadium, and so parking was across the street, but then people parked everywhere. It's almost kind of how it is in Atlanta, where people just park all around the stadium at different parking lots or whatever. And then after that, we were with the Saints, and the Saints, of course, have the indoor parking. And I guess, if I don't know where people parked, if they didn't park inside of the dome, but the players parked inside the dome, and we actually had an elevator once you were inside and parked, that you just walk a few steps and then you go up the elevator and you're right there at your seat. But then with the Panthers, the players parking lot was cool because we didn't tailgate, but afterwards we would kind of hang out outside, and the fans were able to come over a little bit. But in Charlotte, still the fans park everywhere. It still wasn't that one huge parking lot where everyone was parked. Okay, I see everyone is still speaking. It's 10 p.m. You going to sleep? Okay. All right. Thank you. Good night. Thank you for being here, Sade Princess Beneficial Knowledge. I appreciate you for being here. And Philly Girl is saying it's fun to travel to games too, because each area has their own cultural food, and you can really get a feel for some really great food everywhere. You can, some people might grill bratwurst, some people will just grill burgers, some people have a slab of ribs, like pork all out there. They're doing chopped barbecue in some places. You're right, all over. It will be just depending on where you were at, different foods. Absolutely. Okay, everyone is saying good night. So I was going to do this live later, but you guys, I literally maybe slept 2 hours last night. I'm exhausted, but I wanted to come on here. I wanted to honor what I wanted to do every day this month, which is the November Thankful Nuggets. So I am thankful for sweet potato cake, and I'm just kind of giving you a little backstory of how I was introduced to it, because it's not too often that you know exactly when you tasted your first piece of amazing cake. It's almost it's almost like, when did you first fall in love with hip hop? That question, and everybody's like, "Oh, it was the summer of 1982 or the summer of 96 or whatever." Well, for me, for sweet potato cake, it was the summer of 1992. And as you're coming into the building, please put in the chat, what is your favorite cake? What is it? I know that let's see, carrot cake was a favorite. And let me see. Anybody else put in their favorite? But definitely put in your favorite cake in the chat. So mine is sweet potato cake. Okay, so it was a late night, and it was after a game, and we're in the parking lot at Giant Stadium, and I'm standing around with my husband, but he was my boyfriend at the time, his parents, and some other players, whatever, that was just coming to get food, because she would make. Now my mother-in-law would make food enough for probably 50 people. I'm trying to tell you, she would have so much food. She would have, iced tea, lemonade, soda. I don't even think we drank a lot of water back then, but it would be just an assortment of drinks like that. And the food was just endless. And, up until that point, she would have like sweet potato pie, apple pie, because those were my husband's favorite too. But this this night, she pulled out this cake. And let's see, Cubs, then you like plain vanilla, okay? And Philly girl said, I don't do cake, but if I had to choose carrot cake, I can eat. Okay, I've never had sweet potato cake before. All right. I hadn't either up until the summer of 1992 when I was introduced to it. So I looked at it and I was like, what kind of cake is that? Because it looked like a German chocolate cake, but then it kind of looked a little bit like carrot cake. I just couldn't really tell. And it was like 3 layers. So it was tall. You could tell that just a lot of love and energy went into making this cake. So my mother-in-law said, oh, it's a sweet potato cake. And she was a teacher for 30 years in Brooklyn. She taught fourth grade. And, throughout the school year, sometimes, especially back in the day, not so much now, of course, not now, but teachers would have potlucks and things like that. And that was one of her staple desserts was the sweet potato cake. And she said, it's a huge hit. Everybody loves it, this, that, and the other. So I was like, well, what does it taste like? Because I mean, sweet potato pie, and it's usually sweet potato pie is smooth and creamy, whereas this cake, it was a cake, and I just never imagined what a sweet potato cake would be like. And she said, just taste it. So she cut me a slice. I mean, it wasn't thin, it wasn't thick, and trust me, when you taste this cake, you don't need a big piece. And if you see, I'm sweetness is my weakness. Okay. That's where I struggle. I struggle with desserts. When I go out to eat at restaurants, the first thing I do is look at the dessert menu because that will determine what I will eat for dinner because I am going to have dessert. So if the dessert menu is amazing, I might just have a salad because I know I'm gonna do what I have to do with that dessert. So I'm the type of person that if I eat something, especially if it's like in a home or a place where you can keep going back, if I love it, I'm going to have more than one piece. Like I just do. But the sweet potato cake is so thick and rich. All you need is one slice. I mean, you might, while you're eating it, you're going to think like, wow, I could eat this whole thing, but you really can't. I can't even describe why. It's just, have you ever eaten something like that, especially a dessert where that one piece was way enough? You just knew like, I'm good. I love it, but I'm so good with this one piece. This one piece is a lot. It's enough. It's doing something for me. This is not something you want to just gorge yourself with because it tastes so good. You just want to appreciate all the flavors. There's so many different flavors in it. It's really amazing. So I got my piece and it was on my plate. I had a fork. You guys, that first taste, that first bite, it the burst of flavors that happened in my mouth. I'm just thankful that I have lived my life and have been able to taste something so delicious. That sweet potato cake is so good, so moist, so rich, so flavorful. It's and all the flavors are married together and they work so well together. Nothing is trying to compete. You can taste the sweet potato, you can taste the cinnamon, the nutmeg, and I'm going to leave the directions or the recipe of how to make it in the description box after this live, but I'm just going to share with you the ingredients that goes into this. And my mother-in-law always says that this cake tastes better after it has sat for 24 hours because then everything just marinates together. So it's sweet potatoes, cinnamon, nutmeg, flour, eggs, and vanilla flavor. And that's it. That's all you put in it. And then for the frosting, now the frosting I think is really, that's what really binds it. That's what really ties it all together. So for the frosting, it's evaporated milk, sugar, butter, coconut, egg yolk, vanilla flavor, and roasted pecans. Do you hear all of that in there? Oh my goodness. Do you? Oh my goodness, Mrs. Carter, Soror, Lisa. I think I mentioned this sweet potato cake to you before. I promise you. And oh my goodness, Lisa. I'm gonna leave the ingredients and the recipe in the description box. Please, please, if you and your family can make this cake, we have to meet up. I have to get a slice. I can't make it. All I can do is share it and eat it. That's what I can do. I'm hopeful that my youngest daughter can do it because my mother-in-law is still in New York, and with COVID and everything, we probably won't see her for the holidays. But Lisa, if you can make this, if you can pull this cake off, oh my goodness. Wait a minute, let me see what everyone is talking about. Oh my goodness. So hello, Mrs. Carter and Donna Reed Love. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being here. Everyone, please be sure to. Am I going to make it? No, Mrs. Lisa, I can't cook. You know that. I can just give you the directions. I'm just not good at directions. Like if someone gets furniture from IKEA, there's going to be a lot of extra pieces if I'm putting it together because I can't. I just no. I can't do it. That's why I'm gonna give it to you so you can do it. Can everyone please leave the type of cake, your favorite cake? So far, it's been vanilla cake and it's been carrot cake. Mine's a sweet potato cake, and I promise you, when I leave this recipe and you try this cake, it's going to be your favorite too. All I know is now I said I had that one piece. His mother put a piece of it away for me because she said, I want you to give this to your parents so they can try it. I looked again and the whole cake was gone. The whole, like everybody on the team, it's like they devoured it. I'm not even sure if they cut it or if they used their hand. I don't know what happened, but the cake was gone. And it was huge. It makes a huge serving. Um, it it's just so good. And I mean, you can probably eat it with vanilla ice cream. You could probably drink milk with it, but really it stands alone. Really it's all about the water because you don't want to mess up with it. You don't want to mess these flavors up when they're all together. And all you will say is thank you. Thank you. I mean, my mouth is watering right now just thinking about it. It's something that, like I said, it's so rich and thick and amazing. Really all you need is one piece, but it's one piece per day. So when you go to sleep and you wake up in the morning, I will promise you, the first thing you'll think about, other than thanking God that you woke up, is I'm gonna get ready to get me a piece of that sweet potato cake for breakfast. You'll start to rationalize how it is a breakfast because it's made with eggs, because it has milk in it, because it has coconut in it. You're gonna be like, those are all breakfast foods. Yes, this is an amazing breakfast, a breakfast made for champions. Yes, oh my goodness. And so Mrs. Carter said, I love Ben Shore to make it. Ben Shore. Just for you gonna make it just for me? Your family is going to love it. I promise you. Please. Yes. And I hope that you all love like coconut flakes because that's the one of the ingredients for the frosting. And the pecans, the roasted pecans. So to me, it's like a combination of German chocolate cake meets carrot cake, but the mother of it is sweet potatoes. That's what it is, like all together. Is your mouth watering? My mouth is watering. So those are the types of foods that my mother in law used to make for tailgate. So that's how she cooked all the time. That's how my mother cooked all the time. So can you believe I'm coming from those types of women and I don't cook? That is really crazy. So I want to share this all with you, and I hope that you really love it. You know, the ingredients is not a lot of different ingredients. So, hopefully you have all of these in your home already. So you don't have to go out and buy anything special. Maybe the coconut flakes, that's about it. Okay, so I love this cake so much. Now, when my husband and I were engaged and planning the wedding and everything, I've been to weddings where, they would have a groom's cake. And I didn't want, because we had a huge dessert bar as well. And of course, our own wedding cake and everything. And there's really no way to make the sweet potato cake pretty, or like, it's in layers. It's, my mother in law would make it 3 layers. So it was thick. But it's really no way to make it where it's like something that you will display, because it's a cake that needs to be respected. It needs to be respected. you know so I wanted it as a groom's cake, but I didn't want it out and displayed. I wanted people to eat it, and when they were home. It's a cake that you shouldn't eat it around a lot of people, because you're not going to appreciate it. it, it's a cake that when you eat it, you're going to wonder, what is this? Wait a minute. You're going to keep eating it because you're trying to if no one tells you that it's sweet potato cake, you're going to keep eating it and try to figure out, like, you'll be able to identify all the flavors and just be like, what is this? And you need to be in a quiet place. I recognize that when we had it at the tailgate, and I just felt like this cake, it shouldn't even be in a parking lot. Like, this is disrespectful, low key, for the cake. This is a cake that needs to have conversation. With one or two people. This cake needs to be observed first. Okay, it needs to be looked at, and it needs to be tasted first before it's eaten. It's like doing a wine tasting. You don't just drink it, you taste it. And that's what this cake is. And hi, Edward Smart. How are you? And Willie Rosado, thank you for being here. Pink Motivation. You need this cake. I'm trying to tell you, I'm not exaggerating. And I feel like you might think I am, but I'm really not. This sweet potato cake is everything. You want some too, Willie Rosado? Yes, it's delicious. So I'm trying to put these messages up here. So for my wedding, I asked my mother-in-law, I said, would it be possible for you to make the sweet potato cake as a groom's cake? Now, mind you, we have 400 people at our wedding. And I didn't want to have it where it was like one per couple. I wanted everyone to have a piece. So she was like, yeah, first of all, she felt honored that I would, want that cake at the wedding, because before meeting me, she would make that cake. Like I said, as a teacher, she would make it for potlucks and things like that. So to her, it was just like easy breezy. And the fact that I appreciated it and loved it so much, I think that made her feel good. I mean, if you make anything and someone loves it, that's going to make you feel good. So she, like I said, was a teacher. Our wedding was in February, so she has the summers off. And she has, it's 10 of them. And she has, I think it's like maybe 6 sisters or something like that. But she had asked 3 of her sisters, or 2 of her sisters, yeah, 2, to help her with the cake, making the cake. Like, she gave them the recipe. They knew what the cake tastes like and everything. They were great cooks too. So, they practiced. I think they came over to her house or something. Somehow they met up. She showed them exactly what she put in it, all this, that, and the other. They made that cake, and I got the square boxes, the square boxes that they used to put cakes in. It was a white box, and it had the date of our wedding and our name in it, it written in silver and everything. And so she, all summer, because you can freeze this cake. That's another thing. So I had a great aunt in Virginia, and growing up, when we would go to Virginia, and she had a whole nother little house situation, like a little outhouse type of thing, but it wasn't a bathroom. It was like a a freezer house, a house where if you had just killed some animals, you could hang them up. And because it had like 3 rooms to it, there was a garden room where, you know, she had plants and things. And then there was another like room, like I said, that they probably back in the day would hang dead animals, I don't know, to drain the blood. And then they had a freezer room where she just had like deep freezers in there. And my great aunt would make cakes, pound cakes, and put them in the freezer. And when she knew it was coming, she would take one out, and that thing tastes like she just made it. So you can freeze cakes, and you can freeze the sweet potato cake. Oh my goodness. All right. Wait, let me see. I'll try to tell you. Hi, Angie. How are you? Good to see you. I'm great to see all of you because you know I don't usually go live, so I really appreciate you all for being here. Please be sure to thumbs up the live. If you like, put the name of your favorite cake in the description box. I'm talking about the sweet potato cake. I am thankful for that. This is November Thankful Nuggets, and this is my thankful nugget is telling you and sharing with you about my sweet potato cake, how I was introduced to it, and just everything. And I'm so willing to share it at the end of this live in the description box. I will definitely have the recipe. And if you make it, oh my goodness, if you can like take a picture or a video or something and let me know. And I would love to be there with you when you try it. So please videotape that when you're trying it out. That would be amazing. Pink motivation is saying, girl, I need this cake now. I want to make it too. Yes. Oh my goodness. I promise you, it's so delicious. Okay, so my mother-in-law and her sisters baked all that summer, and they made it into like a really thick sheet cake, and they put the icing. I'm not sure if she put the icing on. I don't think she put the icing on when she made it in the summer. They wrapped it up in all kinds of stuff, and she put all of them. She made sheets and sheets of them and put them in the freezer. And then she's a fourth grade teacher, so she's very, you know, meticulous and precise. Well, that's just her personality. But she cut each piece exactly like just a little bit smaller than a box. So when you open it, it was just sweet potato cake. Oh, oh my goodness. And you know, she put the icing on it. She had the wax paper and everything so it wouldn't leak through. I'm trying to tell y'all, for our wedding, we had so much food. It was at a beautiful hall, beautiful, beautiful hall. Our cocktail hour, people thought that was the dinner. Like that's how much food was flowing. It was just beautiful. And then we had a huge dessert bar. We had you know, of course, the wedding cake. And so when everyone was leaving, we didn't put the cake, the sweet potato cake, on the tables. They were handed to them as they were leaving because I didn't want anyone to disrespect it and leave it or open it up and just taste it and then, you know, I just didn't. It's a cake. You have to be in a safe place with not too many people around because you're gonna need all your senses when you eat this cake. I'm trying to tell you, visually, it's going to stimulate you. hmm Um, the sense of smell, the smell is going to stimulate you. The taste is going to stimulate you. And as it's going down, it's going to feel like a hug. You're going to feel like someone who made that loves you so much. You're going to feel loved. Okay. So if you aren't able to see your family over the holidays, I highly recommend sweet potato cake to make it because it'll feel like you have all your people around you. I promise. So I'm trying to tell you, my mouth is watering. It is watering. It's watering. Wait. Yeah, we have 400 people at our wedding. My husband and I both come from a really big family. His mother is one of 10. His father is one of five. Five. My mother is one of five. My father's one of 11. And we have a ton of first cousins, aunts, uncles, godparents, siblings, in-law, you know, like just a lot. And then, you know, my parents have their own business. His father was an executive director, so he had colleagues. His mother taught for 30 years. She had colleagues. We had friends, he had teammates, I had my line sisters. It was just it was a lot of people, but it was everyone in there loved us and we loved them. And I remember because we had a broom jumping ceremony that we did at the reception that our what's it called? Our coordinator, she has this beautiful program, like it's a whole program around the broom jumping ceremony, and she read it, and as she was reading it, everyone, all 400 guests, and every only one person didn't show. So we had 399 people in the building, but everyone stood around us in a big circle all around the room. And my mother, she actually decorated the broom that we had that we were jumping over, but before we jumped over it, we swept around everyone. And as we were sweeping, our coordinator was reading the ritual, and it was just really beautiful. But I remember at some point, my husband and I looked around and was like, wow, everyone in here loves us and we love them. Like, how much of a blessing is that to be surrounded by so many people that love us? And it was really good. It was an amazing experience and memory. Yes. Yeah, it was a huge wedding, but because we knew everyone really well that was there, it wasn't like, our parents invited people that we had no dealings with or anything like that. We knew everyone, so it didn't feel as big as it may have seemed to some. Um, let's see. Okay, so Angie is saying, I love sweet potato cake. My sister had it some years ago for Thanksgiving when I visited. Yes, wasn't it delicious? And Thanksgiving is a perfect holiday to make the sweet potato cake. So the day after our wedding, and a lot of our guests were calling in because we weren't leaving for our honeymoon until like 2 days later. And because we had a lot of family and friends that flew in from all over. I mean, my husband has a first cousin that lives in Switzerland, and her family came. So we wanted to spend some extra time with family and friends and things. So people were like blowing up the phone. What kind of cake was that? What was that? Was that a cake? What? Who made that? Where? Pop up. I mean, it was so many questions. And when I told everyone it was sweet potato cake, it blew them away. It blew them away. And they were like, do you have any more? Is there any more at the house? Where can I get it? How, does she make it? Does she sell them? I'm like, no, it's just something that she makes. So, hi, Jazzy TV. How are you? And Blinding Lights, good to see you. Good to see you. You guys, I appreciate you all for being here. You could have been anywhere. It is Wednesday evening. It's a lot going on. That is the truth. I only had 2 hours sleep from last night, but I'm glad that you are here with me. Thank you so much. You jumped the broom. We still have our broom too, Lisa. It's hanging right outside of our bedroom. We always hang it no matter where we live. We've always taken it. It is one of those things like grab that broom. And what we did also, we had the elders in our family and our parents and siblings to come. And while everyone was still in a large circle, we had white ribbon. And one at a time, they were called up to say a special wish, a special prayer for us. And as they did, they tied the ribbon onto the broom. And then we let the broom sit up by our table, and we had a basket full of those ribbons, and our guests were able to come and just, say a prayer over it and just tie a ribbon throughout the night. So our broom has 400 ribbons on it, still just hanging there. I mean, it's almost 26 years now, so it's starting to look a little not as white, but more like a creamish color, but it's still, beautiful. I'm so happy that my mother made it. So it's still, something that she made that's here with us as well. But jumping the broom is a old tradition. It's something that um it's like two or three different stories. Some people say it's a tradition that started in Africa. Others say it's a tradition that started during slavery. It was a way that we joined together in holy matrimony. And, you know, I know when we did ours, my coordinator was saying, jumping backwards doesn't mean you could take it back. You jump together over it and land together and start your life. And that's what we did. Keep jumping. Yes, absolutely. Let's see. Do you have any more? That's great. Um, I'm not sure. Oh, you had an outdoor wedding with only 50 people and I was overwhelmed. Yeah, I mean, I really my wedding was it was really it was a blessing, and it was a light lift for me to put together. I mean, I had my parents, my parents both are florists, so we've been doing weddings all my life. So, in terms of the event planning of it, we knew how to do that. Um, Prior to my line sisters, I had a lot of my line sisters in my wedding, because you have to have a ratio. If you're going to have 400 guests, you're going to have a certain amount of hosts or hostesses. So I only had three bridesmaids. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, three bridesmaids, but I had about 10 hostesses, to greet the guests as they came in. I mean, there was a lot of people we couldn't invite, so we had even more than 400 people at the church, because everyone, couldn't make it to they, couldn't invite everybody to the reception. So people still wanted to come, and so they came to the church. And so before I had anyone commit to being in the wedding, we had a luncheon. My mother was at my parents' house. My mother made the food and everything. And because I was in grad school, I was working in New York. And I was flying back and forth to LA once a month, because at the time my husband was playing with the Los Angeles Rams. And so I'm out there, once a month for about 4 or 5 days with him, and back, back and forth. And so we got engaged in May 1994, and we were married in February 1995. And so I sat down all of my bridesmaids and hostesses, and I, explained to them what my vision was for the wedding, and what the commitment would be from them. And this is prior email, cell phones. I mean, it might have been some cell phones, but I didn't have one. This is prior a lot of things. So we didn't have text messaging and social media and all that. So I needed them to be clear of what the vision was. And I told them, if you don't want to be in it, let me know now. And there's not going to be any hard feelings. I still definitely will invite you. It's just that I need to know now. And I let them know approximately how much it was going to cost with the dress and everything. And they all were down, and they were amazing bridesmaids, hostesses, whatever, just sisters in love. They were amazing. And I couldn't have done any of it without them, truth be told. I really couldn't, even though I didn't want it to be a heavy lift for them. But just knowing that they were in my corner was all that I needed. And I love them to this moment for it. But, and it was unfortunate I wasn't able to have all of my line sisters in it, because I love them all the same. But yeah, so I did that. And because we didn't have email, because we didn't have social media, text, or anything like that, I would mail out a newsletter to them about once a month, to give them updates of what was going on, to give them dates of when fittings were, because they lived in different states too. They lived in Philadelphia, Virginia, New York, New Jersey, and my wedding was in New Jersey. So trying to keep them abreast all at once, instead of having it a chain, because you know what happens with chain phone calls, it ends up being a different story by the time it gets to the last person. So I created like a little newsletter letter type of thing, just giving them updates on, where we were, what we were doing, and things like that. And it all worked out. When I would schedule fittings and things like that, I wanted all of them to be together when they did the fittings, and they were just amazing. And I think when you communicate anything up front, it definitely makes things a lighter lift. And some people get angry, and when they are angry because people are not responding, or not performing the way that they think they should, I always ask, did you set up the expectations in the beginning? And typically the answer is no. So it's important to set the expectations, to have open lines of communication. You know, I didn't hear any disagreements or, any kind of issues. There may have been, I don't know, but I never heard of any, with my line sisters or my friends. And I had two friends and my sister-in-law, my husband's sister was in the wedding too. I never heard any rumbling amongst them. And if there were, it was stuff that they may have kept away from me because it wasn't necessary for me to be involved, and I appreciate them for that, if that was a thing as well. Let's see, do I have any more? Yeah, the sweet potato cake is delicious. Jazzy TV. Be amazing, Sylvia. Good to see you in the building. Great to see you. I was just in your live not too long ago. I see everyone is speaking. That's so wonderful. Thank you all. Um, Flagger Philly girl. Oh my goodness, you feel lucky. No, I mean, you know what? Is that was just his job. I don't belittle it either because I know that, for instance, only 1% of all college athletes or football players make it to the NFL, and only 1% of them make it where they are vested. And my husband was fortunate to play for 10 years. So I don't make light of that. However, I also don't look at it like it's anything huge because, I'm like mechanics, plumbers, bus drivers, doctors, lawyers, engineers, whatever. That's their career. So that was just his career. And really, at the end of his career, his last season, I remember I started to feel some kind of way. Um, and we weren't quite sure if that was going to be his last season, but he had always said in the beginning if he could make it 10 years, he would be good. And he did. He was blessed to make it without having been cut or anything from any team. I mean, he worked really, really hard. And he inspires me to this moment, just the way that he grind doing it, making a better way for his family, really. But he, I forgot what I was going to say. I forgot what I was going to say. But it's hard work. Oh yeah, so the last season, um, I started to feel like, why am I watching him play? Like, why am I watching him work? That's what it felt like. So from the beginning, he's always been the type. If he has a home game, he would want a ride the night before to the hotel, and then you know whoever was going to the game would just meet him after the games. To take him. We would always go out to eat and stuff like that. But um, I stopped going to the games his last season, and I would just drop him off. I'd pick him up from the hotel the morning of the game, drop him off at the stadium, like at the office, and then after the game, I would just meet him in the parking lot, and we would go. We would go to eat or hang out or whatever. And I just started to feel like it's just weird seeing him work. It just became kind of weird. But it is a gladiator sport, and this is years and years later since he's been retired, and he has a lot of issues now. Um, he's managing them. He's very aware of them. So it's not like, what are you talking about? That's not what's happening. He's very aware of the changes, but it is something that, especially at this stage, that I really wouldn't wish on anyone. Um, Whatever they make, I don't like to hear fans complain about, oh, athletes make whatever. Trust me, first of all, that money has to last them for the rest of their lives, and the rest of their lives is not necessarily going to be a walk in the park. And that's where we are now, and it has its moments. But yeah, let's see. I'm glad everyone is here and saying hello. The any more comment was from when you said people were calling you about the cake after your wedding. Yeah, people were calling. They were like, what kind of cake was that? What was that? Who? And and so we actually had some extra pieces, but not enough to distribute to everyone to have two pieces. But it was just a blessing that my mother-in-law was able to make it. She never knew she could make that much of it. And she had to modify it because she's used to making it at 3 levels. And so she had to make it like one big sheet cake. And she just did a lot. And I really love her for doing that. Not that's not the only reason why I love her, but I really appreciate that she did all that. And she said, "Can I ask who is he? I've been a football fan my whole life. Will you share that? If not, that's totally okay." I can share that with you offline. I'd rather do that. But yeah, I could tell you that he was an offensive lineman, and that's one of the hardest positions. I remember, go every time when I would go to the games, I would just have binoculars and I would zoom in on him. I wouldn't even know if plays were complete, if the running back got the yardage, if the receiver caught the ball. It didn't matter. I was just watching him because, he and I would dissect everything after the game because people don't realize, especially in professional sports, that the team could win. But if you don't play good, you may not be there that next week. You may not be on the team or you may not have that starting position. And so 7 out of the 10 years he did start. And every year it was a fight for that starting position. Every year the team that he was on drafted someone in the first round in his position to be the starter, and he always beat them out. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, his drive was just remarkable. I respect him and his knowledge of the sport. That's how I know, like, when somebody says they are a subject matter expert, but and you know that they've done what they say that they did, believe it. I have so much respect for anyone that does well in their profession and knows what they're doing and knows the industry. And that's what he taught me too. You have to know your value. Don't devalue yourself. So if someone is trying to offer you less than what you know you are worth, do not take it, because that will decrease your value moving forward. And people will always try to get you, at a lower end. And I remember, and I'm not going to stay on too long, but let me see. Okay, thank you. Um, but I remember I loved St. Louis so much. I loved being, on that in that community, on that team. We were the first ones in St. Louis, and it was just amazing. And they had offered him, I thought, a really good contract, and he didn't take it. And even my father and his father was like, "What? You're not going to take it?" Like, that was, I mean, it was way better than what we were getting. So it was like, what? Like, you know, this is so much more than what we already have. And but he said no, because I'm worth more. And he was a free agent, and he took that chance. And in life, you have to take that chance. If you know your worth, take that chance. He took that chance, and we left that season, and I remember crying like a baby. I was like, "Oh my goodness, like, what is this looking like?" And he was like, "Don't worry, I know what's out there, and I know what they try to give me is like, it's peanuts." And I was like, "All right." And we went back. We have a condo in New Jersey. We went to the condo in December. In February, the Saints called up. It was a couple of teams that called his agent. We went out to New Orleans, and it was actually doing Mardi Gras. They put us up in the hotel. I remember the head coach and the general manager picked us up at the airport. It was one of the first years that, like, free agency was a big thing, and just starting out, really. And they wined and dined us. It was remarkable. He was on the phone with his agent all the time because other teams were bidding. And finally, the Saints came through, and it was remarkable because it made what the Rams were offering look like nothing. And I looked at him like, "Dude, you know your industry. You don't have to ever worry about me saying anything. Whatever you think is what it's going to be." And that's how it is. And that's how it is in any industry that you are in. When you know your worth, don't settle for less. And I'm talking to myself too right now, because sometimes people will try to make you feel like you have to settle or just accept what they're offering you. But trust me, if you know the value that you're bringing, if you know what the market value is as well, and that you exceed the market in terms of the talent that you are bringing, that you have, your experiences, stand strong on that. Stand strong. I believe that God will bring you to things as a test, and he wants to see how obedient you are to him and how much you trust him, because he got you all the time. But if you succumb to all the whims that come around you, if you succumb to all of the opportunities that are just easy instead of going through what he's putting you through, because you're just like, I don't know, I, you know, I know I'm worth more, but this is right here. Let me just take this. Instead of knowing that God got you and you know what your worth is, He knows what your worth is, and is always going to put you in a position and in a place that will be beyond your wildest imagination. And when you trust Him and you go with that, I'm trying to tell you, what you think and what He'll give you, what He gives you will exceed anything you could ever dream or think about. And us going through that at that time, at that young age, we were still in our 20s. I was like, this right here is God. And you don't have to ever worry about me saying another word. Like, I'm just trust it. I got that faith walk on, put my shoes, tied them tight, and walk that path. And that goes for anything. Just trust. It might be hard. The path that God is leading you down, it's going to be harder because you have to be that testimony. So my husband's able to talk to other young players and tell them about his journey and let them know like what they have to do to get through, and it will happen if they just do it, do the right thing, stay out of trouble. When he was in high school hanging out with his friends, and he said that one of his friends had a car that day. Not a car like that his parents got him, but that day he had a car. They pulled up. It was like, yo, get in, boom, boom. It was a bunch of them in the car. He gets in and he's like, where'd you get this car from? It turns out it was stolen. And so he said, let me out. And they said, what? And he said, yeah, let me out. Because he knew that he had a future, that he had, potential scholarships, that he had a potential career path, and he didn't want to get caught up and get that ruined. And they dropped him off and they stopped speaking to him for a long time. Like maybe one or two only, still speak to him. The others had stopped because they called him a punk, they called him soft, they called him whatever. I'll be that, you know. You have to do things differently to do things differently. And so this is a whole nother topic. I'm just thankful for the sweet potato cake. Wait a minute. Oh my goodness. I just went somewhere else. Thank you, Be Amazing Sylvia. Okay, thank you. I'm glad that you were able to stop by. It was great to see you. I appreciate you. Um, Philly girl is saying, oh goodness, Rams to Saints. That's awesome. Yeah, well, it was the Giants to the Rams, then to the Saints, and then retired as a Panther. So they call that a journeyman. That's when you don't stay with one team your entire career. You go to different teams, and it's all still the same because he completed all of his contracts, and you just go to a team that needs your talent, and it works out that way. I mean, he could have played probably another 10 years, but we had young children, and he loved us so much. I remember that last camp when he was leaving, and I could see him looking through the rearview mirror as he was driving off, and he was really sad. He did not like, leaving us. And so after that 10th season, his agent called the head coach of the Panthers at the time. It was Seifert. I think that's his name. I can't remember his first name, but Seifert. I remember he called and was like, what are you going to do? What do you want to do? Because, we could still use you. And my husband was like, oh, I'm good. He walked away. And at the time, I was just like, whew, he walked away unscathed. He had some things going on with his knee a little bit. Oh, especially the year before he retired, that thing right there. But, basically he walked away. And, I felt really blessed that he was able to walk away. He wasn't pushed away. He wasn't carried away. He wasn't thrown away. He walked away. And, we never thought, fast forwarding to now, that, he would have issues like with his brain, with his body. Like what's going on right now was never in the plan. But, you know, you got to take the great with the not so great. And that's all good. We all learn and growing, and it's still all good. Hi, MSK Family Vlogs and Scratch and Pete PA. Good to see you guys. Yes. Yes, Edward Smart. Be patient and have faith. Um, Everyone's journey, no matter what your career is not going to be the same necessarily. However, your journey can be great. When my husband was drafted to the Giants, it was right after they won the Super Bowl in after that 1990 season. Remember when the Giants went like 11-1 or something like that? I mean, they had an amazing season. They beat Buffalo by 1 point. I remember that game. I was in college. And so when he got drafted, he didn't understand why they drafted him, because they had a first rounder in his position that was all pro. And he was like, they don't even need me. Like, why would they have me here? And his first 3 years, this is a whole nother live. Let me try to stick to the information. Your mind is blown. Don't let your mind be blown. Hi, Be the Difference Clothing. Good to see you. I see you speaking to everyone. It's great to see you. I kept missing you a little bit today in some lives, but it's good to see you. Let's see. I see everyone is speaking. Oh, that's a whole nother topic. I don't know. Should I go into it? I don't know. You guys put your favorite cake please in the comment. I know we had carrot cake, we had vanilla cake. My favorite is sweet potato cake. And like I said, I'm going to leave the ingredients and the recipe in the description box after this live. And I promise you, when you make it, first of all, make it the day before at least of when you want to eat it. Because my mother-in-law always says that 24 hours. And look, no matter where we lived, and they would have to fly to where we lived. My mother-in-law, for Christmas, Thanksgiving, whatever, whenever they would come, she would make it because she knew it was my favorite, and she would wrap it up and everything and put it with her on the plane. She would have it on her lap sitting there, and when she get off the plane, she'd hug me and then give it to me like, here you go, because she knew. I love that cake so much, and I know you will too. The flavors are just going to blow your mind, and they're going to be so lasting. They really are. Let me see. Strawberry shortcake, Edward Smart, is so good. I love it. And so Vern's junk closet. I know she's not in the building right now, but Vern never had a strawberry before. Like, she doesn't do strawberries. She's not allergic to them. She don't even know if she don't like them. She just won't eat one. And I said, not even strawberry shortcake, not even strawberry ice cream, strawberry milkshake, none of that. Strawberry shortcake, especially in the summer, is delicious. You don't like cake? Oh my goodness, Be the Difference. Be the Difference says she does not like cake. What in the world? How can you not like cake? How can you not like cake? All right, I promise you though, you would love sweet potato cake. You might not like any other cake, but sweet potato cake, first of all, I don't even know what ingredient is in here that will make it so moist, but it is so moist. And it basically melts in your mouth. The only reason why you have to chew is because of the coconut and the roasted pecans that are in it. Other than that, I mean, I promise you, my mouth is watering right now from it, from just thinking about it. It really is. Cheesecake, yes. I love the Cheesecake family. I mean, the Cheesecake Factory MSK family vlogs. I love cheesecake. They have one that has a lemon meringue. I think that's the one that I love. Yes. Let's see. Um, the potatoes. Wait, yuck. No, no. I can't. Please don't tell me you're like that. That's how Vern's is with foods. Is yeah. The wait, what sounds good? Is it the Be the Difference? Is it the cheesecake lemon meringue, or is it the sweet potato cake? Because that's what's the deal right there. I think they have a sweet potato cheesecake too. I've never had that before, because when I taste anything else that's like dealing with sweet potatoes, or I love sweet potato pie, so that's period. That's just a staple piece. That's something we all started eating probably at birth, and that's fine. But when people try to say, oh, I have this sweet potato cake or I have this sweet potato, whatever, I always go back to this sweet potato recipe that I have right here. And I have it written down because I have a book. I have a recipe book. I don't cook or anything, but I love to watch people cook. I love people that can cook amazing things like Gigi's Gluten Free Lab, Adrian's cooking and review. They cook amazing to me. And there's a lot of other YouTubers on here that they do great with cooking. But I was trying to capture some recipes that my mother makes, that my mother-in-law makes, and I have this binder, and it's a cookbook, and you can also put recipes that you might clip out of magazines or whatever. And I don't know, I'm compiling it to do something, pass it on to my daughters or share it with you guys when I'm thankful for this. So I'm sharing it with you. You're only the second person that I've shared this recipe with. And it's not that I'm trying to hold it tight because I think this is something that everyone should be privy to, should have in their repertoire because it is so, so good. I'm not going to say it's easy to make because I never made it. It looks hard because it has so many layers, but it doesn't have a lot of ingredients. I had read to you the ingredients before. It's just sweet potato, cinnamon, nutmeg, flour, eggs, and vanilla flavor. And for the icing, it's evaporated milk, sugar, butter, coconut, egg yolk, vanilla flavor, and roasted pecans. So it's not like a lot of different ingredients. It's just about blending it all. Anything talking about some shifting or sifting or whatever, I can't do all that. See, if I was to make it, there'd be like 3 steps at least I wouldn't do. I just wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't. And see what happens. That's what I call it. Let's see what happens. So, but I'm going to put every step on here in the um in the description box so that you all can have it and put it in your recipe book and share it with your loved ones, especially during the holidays. If your loved ones aren't able to see you during the holidays, I say make this because it's going to feel like you are being hugged by every last one of your family members and friends. So, you guys, like I said, I just came on here. I'm actually getting ready to go to bed. I'm exhausted. I only got 2 hours sleep last night and had amazing meetings today. I learned so much. Mm. I'm telling you, when I'm in a meeting and someone says something that blows my mind, I tell them right there that what you just said taught me something. I learned something today and I am happy about it. So I hope that you learned something today about sweet potato cake. That's my favorite. But that is definitely my November thankful nugget is I'm thankful that I was introduced to sweet potato cakes because it really changed my mind. It changed my palate. And the fact that I can remember is one of those, when did you fall in love with hip hop? You guys, in 2 months from now, I'm gonna say, when did you fall in love with sweet potato cake? I fell in love with sweet potato cake the summer of 1992. Let's see. Hi, Sister Fifi Tyson. I'm glad you made it. Good to see you. I'm winding down. I was like getting ready to get into a whole nother topic. And I said, you know what? Let me save that for another day, another title, because I think that what I was getting ready to share with you guys is going to definitely bless someone. I mean, it will, but I want it to be. Ooh, you know what? I'm gonna just tell you guys. So because one of the reasons why is because of Edward Smart, who is in Hawaii, and I thank you for being here. Edward said, "Be patient and have faith," and that just really reminded me of the journey. And I say, and it was my husband's journey, but I was right there, with him every step of the way. That's why when I would go to the games, I would have binoculars, just zoned in on him. I wouldn't even care what happened after the play, just as long as he had his man and held him, away from the quarterback. But like I had started to say, when he was drafted, he couldn't understand why did that team draft him. They didn't need him. They had amazing players already there, and he knew he wasn't going to get a chance. But you have to have faith because he was surrounded by some of the great. I'm talking Lawrence Taylor, Pepper Johnson, Carl Banks, um, what's his name? Jumbo Elliott, Hostetler, Sims, Phil Sims, Rodney Hampton. You know, some Adrian. What's Adrian's last name? Zeke Moat. I mean, just amazing players that are just like staple pieces. When you talk about when football was football, when men played it, I mean, they still are playing it, but when it was like a warrior sport for real, he was surrounded by them every single day. And they knew that he had potential and talent. And even though when they would play away, and this is his first 3 years, he was drafted, and then his first 3 years, during the regular season, he didn't travel with the team. He didn't dress for the games. He would be on the sideline in his regular clothes. Um, he said it was like he was a fan because he grew up in New York. So he grew up knowing, looking up to these guys. It was like he was a fan that was around people he grew up looking up to. He didn't feel like he was part of the team. So once again, there was no text messaging, no internet or anything like that. So at camp, they always let him play at camp. For back then, the more seasoned players wouldn't do camp. They would either come late, they wouldn't play, but the first game they'd be right there. And oftentimes they let the younger guys play so that I don't know. Actually, it was very generous that they let the younger guys play because it gave them film. But when he was at camp, he was working really, really hard, and I would write him letters. I wrote him letters every day, and I would put in scriptures. I would put in quotes from our ancestors. I would read Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice by Dennis Kimbrough. If y'all have not read that book, Think and Grow Rich by Dennis Kimbrough, I highly recommend it. I mean, it's an old book, but it's still very relevant. And I would just share with him stories of people that went through challenging times, made it through, and it was amazing. Just different things to keep him elevated and motivated. Because just imagine you have an opportunity to do what you love to do, but you're not really given that chance. And so he's, especially his last year, he started to get like really down because you all, since 8 years old, this has been your dream, and you don't see where it's leading you. So I started to tell him, you have to walk in the locker room as if you are a starter. You have to move as if you are. You have to carry yourself in a way that's not defeated. And see, where I grew up in Teaneck, New Jersey, it's a lot of people in Teaneck. That's where the Isley brothers are. I mean, I went to school with Ronald Isley's daughter. That's where Sugar Hill Gang is. That's where, like, I can't even begin to describe, but the who's who was there. Biggie Smalls lived in Teaneck. He's not from Teaneck, but he lived in Teaneck. Just a lot of, you drive and you could see anybody on any day. In our church, it was all the Giants, the Nets. It just is what it is, right? So because of that, and there's a lot of people, especially at that time when we were in our early 20s, even before then, living at home or whatever, but they driving Benzes and BMWs and balling like that, but they don't really have anything really of their own. But they always look in side eye, and that's how it is there, at what the next person has. Always worried and concerned and trying to one up somebody or whatever. And playing a professional sport is like working for local government. Your salary is public. And so then, they looking at his salary like he ain't even doing da da da. But my thing is, he was 23 years old and making well into the six figures. So how you gonna put that down? But they did, and just it just really it was a lot. And so he didn't know what was going to happen with his career. And I just said, you got to stick with it. Whatever you think is right, do this. You just keep doing what you're doing. Don't worry about what other people are saying or doing. You can't control that, but the right people are always watching. And it was true. So when became a free agent after his third year, where a lot of guys that were drafted with him didn't make it past 3 years, the Rams saw something valuable in him. They saw his film from when he played during the preseason and played like he was a starter, did his very best. Every opportunity you get, whether it's a minute on the field, whether it's a minute on the court, you make that minute count, because that's a minute worth of film. That's a minute worth of opportunity that you are able to showcase your talent. It's not about the longevity of it. It's not the length of it. It's not like, oh, but I didn't play the whole game. But when you were in there for that minute, what you do? Did you kill it? Oh, okay. Because that's your transferable skill. Some people get so mad. I remember even coaching, um, people that don't get to play the whole game or the whole quarter, they get such an attitude. My thing is, you need to do something with that attitude, because that's what people see. That's the lasting impression. But if people see that you go in and give it your all, even if it is for 30 seconds, even if it is for the last 5 seconds of the game. And when I talk about game, field, court, that is relative to anything. That's the boardroom. That's the courtroom. That's the classroom. That's the office space. That's the cubicle. That's your car. That's the 18-wheeler. That's wherever it is that you find yourself. That's under the sink fixing pipes. That's in the outside in the ground fixing pipes. That's wherever you are in your life. It's all relative. I just utilize sports because I've been in and around sports just about all my life. And it's parallel. It really is. It's very relevant. No matter how much time you get, you take full advantage of it. You capture it. Those are your skills. No one can ever take that away from you. Those are things that if you go to another team, if you go to another business, if you go to another opportunity, another school, that right there, what you did over there is coming with you. It's not staying there, it's coming with you. And the right people that understands transferable skills will scoop you up, because they know that's what you bring in with you. That's what they need. Everyone has a need for different positions. Once again, that's sports. Every team has multiple positions. What is your position? How well do you play it? Know your worth. So he went to the Rams and he started that whole season. It was amazing. The next year, the Rams drafted a first rounder. My husband overheard the coach say, come hell or high water. Come hell or high water. What in the world? What kind of chance do you have against hell or high water? Whichever comes first. That first round is going to start. He heard the coach say that. And when the coach said that he's going to start, he meant he's going to start over him. So instead of laying down and accepting what he just heard from the coach, instead of laying down and accepting the fact that the person the coach was saying that to agreed, he worked harder. He trained harder. He practiced after practice. I never seen anything like it. I mean, when he came back to New Jersey, and I would go out with him. This is the rest of his whole career. He did this. We would go to Giant Stadium, and this is when it was still the old stadium with the big parking lot and everything, at midnight. And I had my rollerblades, and he would be running, doing pass sets, sprints, whatever, and I would just rollerblade all around the parking lot in the middle of the night. Then when we got our puppy, we got a boxer who was our trial baby. He came too. He would be just running. We would let him off. I mean, anything could have probably scooped him up. If y'all know Secaucus, New Jersey, anything could have scooped him up at midnight. But I was there to support him. I remember, so that second year with the Rams, that's his 5th year in the league, they did something that I've never seen before. So not only did that first rounder not take his position, they had another guy who it was like my husband's best friend. They were tag team. They played them um every other quarter. So my husband would start, and then his best friend, would play the second quarter. He played the third. The best friend played the fourth quarter, because they just didn't know what to do with them. That's a whole nother story too, of how you need to communicate. When you know your worth, you can't be intimidated by what other people that are around you may be offered or getting. And that really is a whole nother story. So the Rams is the one who, I love that team so much, just that whole experience. Um, but he knew his worth. And when they approached him to sign him for another, I think it might have been another 5 years or so, and he turned it down. That was crazy. And he was a free agent. So we came home. He was on his grind. You know, we were in the midst of finding a new agent. We interviewed several agents together. It wasn't like he went off somewhere. This was a partnership. You know, this is business now. Um, we interviewed several agents, found the agent that we knew was going to represent us well. I mean, it was the same agent that like Jerry Rice had, and you know, we was just really impressed with his track record and his circle of influence and who he knew and played golf with, because that matters. Um, and he did right by us. And so we went to New Orleans, and you know, New Orleans, they loved him. And oh my goodness. So like I said, they brought us in, they wined and dined us, everything. And in the middle, not even the middle of the season, I want to say a quarter of the way through the season, the coach quit. What? That's like when you in college and you know you get recruited to play a sport in college, and if your coach that recruited you quit, you don't know what's coming. You don't know if that person's going to like you, if the way you play fits in their scheme, you know, all kinds of things. And yeah. So he quit and we get another coach, Mike Ditka. Yeah. And I'm not going to say my husband's style wasn't Mike Dicka's style, but his personality. My husband's a man that didn't appreciate people that talk to people as if they weren't men or women. And yeah, that's a whole nother story too. They got into it. It was really a big deal. I mean, I was like, so we moving? Because, you know, he basically, yeah, that's another story. Maybe I'll tell you that about that. I don't know. Let's see. Edward, you trying to visualize me rollerblading? I know. I used to rollerblade. Yeah, I used to be active in that way. Like rollerblade, I would bike ride. I wouldn't jog. I'm not a jogger at all. But yeah, I would rollerblade. And I wouldn't even have um headgear or elbow pads or anything. So if I fell, it is what it is. I just fell. Thank you for welcoming everyone. Hi, J Luck Blog. Yeah, I was. Absolutely. That's how I know. You know, we always said we got our backs against each other, and God is just embracing us. He's surrounding us. He's the one that covers us, that protects us. We walk by faith. Every single thing we've ever done in business, you know, and that's another thing I really appreciate. And I guess that's a whole nother thankful video. Let me yes. Oh, maybe Fly Girl. Yeah, my husband was something else. Ooh, he stood up for people. I remember somebody said, you know, would he have knelt if he was, you know, still playing? Somebody said, I don't think he would have. I said, you don't think he would? First of all, I'm trying to think. I want to say back in the day when he played that most of the guys would stay in the tunnel till the game was about to start. So I don't know. Everyone is saying hello. Oh, thank you. Yes, I know. I only had 2 hours of sleep. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna sleep really good tonight. Um, Oh, no problem. Cubs Den, I appreciate you for being here. I really enjoy your lives, and what y'all are doing over there and supportive. Thank you so much. Let's see. Um, I'm glad that you're here, J Luck Blog. And I was kind of multitasking when I was on your live earlier, but I enjoy you. Your spirit is something good, something positive and uplifting. And I appreciate you for that. I absolutely do. Whew. Yeah, you guys. So um yeah, I'll have more videos on that, especially for this month, because I have so much to be thankful for. I never took anything for granted. I'm blessed and favored. God has taken care of us. Do you hear me? We've been in some situations that we had no one to turn to in terms of having been through it. My parents were there to definitely guide us when it came to business, to because my parents were risk takers. So they were there and they were helpful with our children, but what we were doing, they had never done, never seen anyone our age doing. And so all they could do was just pray for us. His parents were so proud of everything that he had been doing, all the steps, and they were just proud and prayerful. And so for my husband and I, we just had each other and we had God, and that was it. And we knew that, and we knew that early, and we were, you know, we talk about it, discuss it, pray on it, and then just move forward. And that's something that I think even if you don't have a partner, do that with yourself. Think about it, write it out, make the plan clear, pray about it, be specific, but move forward as well as you're doing that. It's so important. And so the plan for this video is to give you the recipe for the sweet potato cake, so that you can make it and be thankful for it. These are the little things that I love, and I hope that you love it too. And if you make it, please make a video and share it and let everyone see, because I'm trying to tell you, it is so delicious. Let's see. Yeah, and it's interesting, Edward, because I was a roller skater. You couldn't tell me nothing about roller skates. First of all, the last Halloween that I went trick or treating, I think I was in the 6th grade, and I was a roller derby person. I roller skated and trick or treated. I was going up steps, front steps of houses with my roller skates on and everything. I was a roller skater. We had a roller skating rink that was in walking distance from my house. And when hip hop became a big thing, because I graduated high school in 87, so from 87 back, when hip hop was just really getting, with LL Cool J, Run DMC, Jam Master Jay, Kumo D, all of them, they used to come to this rink and perform all the time. And yeah, I had a good time. I could roller skate backwards, boom boom. So rollerblading was nothing. I ice skate. I remember one time we went ice skating with another family of friends of ours, and my husband is down to try stuff at least once. And so he and my son, it was hilarious. they they were like a bridge, and people were just going under their arms because they just couldn't. My husband went around once and he said, "Cool, I tried it. I can say I did it. I'm done. What, y'all need me to hold your bags? You need me to hold your coat? You want some snacks? I can get the snacks. I'll be right over here at the table." And I said, "You know what? I give you an A for effort." But yeah, I ice skate. I do all that. I'm a daredevil, so I love jet skiing at full throttle. I love horseback riding at a gallop. I love motorcycles. I love the spider. I wanted to get a spider before my son got his license when he was in high school, because I was like, I'm gonna pick him up from school driving my spider. And I didn't get it. I don't know why I didn't get one. Probably because it wasn't practical for a mother of three. So silly. Yes. Okay, you waiting on that cake? Are you gonna make it, J Luck Blog? Are you gonna? I hope you do. Hi, Boss Life Online. How are you? This is my November thankful nugget. Remember, we were in J Luck's blog, and it was J Luck Blog. It was Boss Life Online, and it was Boss Lady Denise. And I don't know what we were talking about, But I was like, I want to do something like every day for November. You know how they have the Blocktober or something? Every day in October, they have it for December, they have it for April, just for different months. But I felt like it was so appropriate to have it for November because this is Thanksgiving, the month for Thanksgiving. And it's more than just being thankful on that day. It's something every day. And especially because of the times that we are in right now, we all need to extract something from our lives every day to be thankful for. Now, I know this is day 4. And if you haven't already started, and that's talking to everyone in the live, in the chat, in the replay, whatever, it's never too late to start. And this one, it doesn't have any strict rules. It's not about inviting people to do it. It's just if you want to do it, because for me, it's making me feel better. Just sharing some great things that I've experienced is sharing great thoughts for my day with you guys. Because trust me, today I had a lot of thoughts. Okay. And I almost didn't even do this. I was like, it's been a long night, a long day. Um, it's still not over. And I don't know, I was just feeling some kind of way. And so, in lieu of just doing a video, I said, let me do a live because I know if I say I'm going live, I have to do it. I feel like if you post that you're going live, people are going to be relying on that. They're going to be waiting on it. And I didn't want to let anyone down, much less myself. So, I'm on here and I'm feeling so much better. I mean, I'm still gonna go to sleep early, but I'm feeling so much better. Trust me, like when you pour out positivity, it lifts up your spirit. It's definitely a higher level. And we all need to be at a higher level right now in terms of our feelings, our thoughts. And so the more positivity we can pull out there, the better it will be. Because there's enough things that are down, that are heavy. And so let's try to be light with it. And so when I woke up after 2 hours, I don't know, I just started thinking about my mother-in-law's sweet potato cake. And I said, you know what, I'm so thankful for that. And I wanted to share it with you all. And I hope that you will definitely try this recipe. Yeah, you remember that J Luck blog, right? And that's the thing. So I've never done like, I never started anything, not on YouTube anyway. Trust me, I've started some things, but and they were so encouraging. That's why I know it was those 3, because I actually wrote their names down. Like, wow, they encouraged me. Boss Lady Online was like, go ahead, yeah, definitely do that. J Luck blog was like, do it. Lady, Boss Lady Denise was like, do it. Yeah, I would like to do something like that too. And so, like I said, it's not anything that's demanding. You don't have to do it every single day. Maybe do it sometimes, but really hashtag or put in there that it's the November thankful nugget that you are presenting. And that's it. If it's every other day, if it's once a week, if it's just once this month, a November thankful nugget. That's all. That's all. And so this was my November thankful nugget. It just so happened to be in a live. I do have one from the first day, second, and third. So this is day 4. And I appreciate you all for being here and for listening. I feel like I rambled because I had like a whole bunch of forks in the road with this live. I didn't mean to go in many different directions, but just talking about the sweet potato cake, the fact that I first tasted it at Giant Stadium after a preseason game, and my mother-in-law cooked it along with everything else for the tailgate. It just kind of snowballed into a lot of different stories. I have a ton of stories, just like I know all of you do. We all do. That's the thing that fascinates me about everyone, is that everyone has a story. Everyone has a situation. Everyone has a memory, a moment, something that is just worth listening to. And I'm just glad that you all are here. I think it's 10 in the building, and you felt like what I was saying was worth listening to. So thank you. Thank you so much. Yes. Okay, so JLuck blog, the first video that I did, which was Sunday, I actually hashtagged you, Boss Lady Online, and Boss Life Online and Boss Lady Denise in that as well. But I appreciate that. Thank you. And she said, I remember that. Oh, no problem. Yeah. Oh, you started today with a prayer? That's awesome. So, Boss Life Online is a motivator, you guys. She is dynamic, a businesswoman, and her editing is amazing. She has, I don't even know what you call it, like these people, and she has them say what she wants them to say. And she is a singer, she's a writer. She sings and writes the music that she sings, and just a smart woman. And I'm so blessed to know her. I'm blessed to know all of you. First of all, and I say this all the time, if you all don't have each other in this live stream right here, I highly recommend that you write down everyone's name that you don't have. And after this live, go check them out, because these are all great people. Sister Fifi Tyson is an encourager, a motivational person as well. She has, first of all, I wouldn't be live if it wasn't for her, because she taught me how to go live and how to use StreamYard. We have Be the Difference Clothing, who is an author. She's an inspiring author, and her products all have motivational words on there. So when you put it on, I'm sure you're going to feel like, yeah, I can do this. When people read it as you come, they're going to be like, wow, that's something positive. It's something that I do even with my apprentices and interns. Every morning I text them a inspirational quote, motivational quote, something motivational. So when they read it, it's something that's positive. My kids, every morning, the first text that they read in the morning from me is something that's inspirational. And so that's the kind of things, and that's the type of merchandise that Be the Difference Clothing has, something that's very inspirational. I appreciate everyone for being in here. Um, Angel Light Over Darkness 33 is in the building. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Y'all, I promise you, every single solitary person that's in here is the truth. They're not scammers, they're not wishy-washy. Remember that word, wishy-washy? I haven't heard that. Where did that come from? Why did I just say that? But they're not wishy washy. They are true and blue and very supportive. And please write everyone's name down that you don't have and check them out. You don't have to say, oh, I came from Sherri, nothing like that. They're just really good people, most definitely. So I am going to get ready to close this out. Just want to make sure I didn't miss anyone. Scratching Pete PA. I'm glad you're in the building. You guys, I you know, when people leave comments on my video, that gives me life. I don't know if you all feel that way, but I definitely feel like it gives me life. And Scratching Pete, he is really remarkable. I recently just connected with him, and I'm really very glad that I did. I am. Let's see. Angel Light Over Darkness. Wow, you are so amazing. I need to connect with you as well. And Use Believes was in the building. Some people had to jump off, and I get that, and I appreciate them for coming in, stopping through. I know Be the Difference. No, I'm not going to even start that because there was so many people. I don't want to mess up anybody's name. I know Mrs. Carter was in the house, and I hope she makes this sweet potato cake, because if she makes it, I'm going to get a piece, and I'm be excited. So what I'm gonna do after this live, I'm gonna go back, and I didn't want to put this in the description before because I didn't want you guys to just take the recipe and run. I'm definitely gonna put it in the description box after this live closes out, and I invite you to come back and capture it, screenshot it, whatever you have to do. It is going to be worth it. People are going to think you are the cat's meow when you make this recipe. I promise. So, everyone, thank you for tuning in. If you have not already hit the like button as you came into the building, please do so. If you feel that, you know what, I'm not yet subscribed, I want to invite you to subscribe to this channel and come back and visit, and as much as you want. I don't go live every day, but I definitely go live on Fridays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And It is my goal every Friday to have a special guest who can drop additional nuggets. I really encourage you all to get a notebook just for these videos, not just for mine. That's why I said these, for everybody's videos. I have a bunch of notebooks that I use for, different reasons for YouTube, for my lives. I have books for when I go to someone's channel who's giving great YouTube tips. I'm not going to rely on my memory for this. I want to write it down. I want to be able to go back and refer to it. I want to be able to share it. And also, if you feel like this live is something that other people may want to hear, or you feel like, what, I know somebody in my circle that this would be perfect for, please be sure to share it. I appreciate that. And I look forward to seeing you all again soon. Remember, this channel is about workforce development, career readiness, entrepreneurship, and of course, real life, real issues, and real talk. I want to see if I see anybody else. I know, Angel Light Over Darkness, you are. Wow. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Boss Life Online said, I do my best to use all my gifts God has given me. I always hope if I can help just one, then I have done my job. Amen to that. When I was a child and a younger adult, I did not get what that meant, but today I do. Absolutely. If you could just help one. There are many out there, but if you could just help one, you've done your work. You're laying the foundation. And that's how I feel every single day. Amen to that. Absolutely. So, everyone, I hope you enjoyed. And until we speak again, remember, practice how you play. Because when you practice hard, you will always play to win. This has been Real Talk with Coach Sherri.